Well, hey, good evening, gardening friends. I believe it's day 25 of our seed starting adventure. We started peppers about 2 weeks ago, week and like 4 days ago. Started them in Ziploc bags and then ended up moving them in a tray a couple days back, and we've had some pretty good progress so far. More of them are sprouting. But we still have, of the 11 varieties, 10 peppers, 10 different peppers, and one eggplant. Of all the varieties that I planted, I've got one, two, three, four, five, 4 or 5 rows that didn't really come up too well. So, what varieties were those? Let's take a look. So it looks like row number one, we've got a few little sprouts. There might be some more that are starting to come up there. But that was my Corno de Toro red peppers. The second row, of which I don't see any sprouts so far, were the jalapenos. So that's disappointing. We're definitely going to start more of them, which I've already got seeds kind of spreading here. And I actually had peppers left over from Hey Frank, I haven't seen you forever, man. What's up? It's been like, I don't know, 4 years or something like that. Hopefully you can get back on the chat, man. I'm gonna keep streaming here, and if you do, we'll chat. It'll be fun. But jalapenos, I had some trouble there. Fortunately, I had seeds left over from last year. This year's lot, it says they were packed for this year, but like I said, I haven't had anything. I haven't had squat come up yet. So I had another packet. Hey man, what's up? Yeah, it has been extremely complicated lately. Anything specific? Hey, I took tomorrow off work time. It's all good for me on my end. I got all night. Shoot. Anytime Frank is on, man, years ago when I first jumped on YouTube, um, I came across his channel and we chatted some. I actually won one of his contests. He still owes me some seeds. You remember that, Frank? You had a little competition. I think I won, and you were going to send me some seeds. I never got them. That's cool. You got all your T frames up? Oh, crap, man. That sucks. What happened, man? I'm sorry to hear that. Are you still out in, I'm trying to think, were you out in Arizona? Like I said, it's been a while. It's been, golly, at least 4 years, 3 or 4 years, maybe longer than that. I've been live streaming about every night. Yeah. I remember you used to do the beat challenge, or what was it? I think it was beats. you grow these giant beets and stuff like that. That's for sure, man. Colorado. I knew it was out west. Yeah, me and Tom's on here about every night with me. We live in the same city in Southwest Ohio here. We're having a lot of fun. We usually chat about all kinds of stuff. But here lately, been streaming about every night and just kind of, I was going to do, yes, Mango Beats. I remember that. Well, I tell you what, man, I'll have to send you some seeds. I've got, look at this, man. I still got my Kroger icing bucket, food grade, but I've got a ton of stuff in here, all kinds of stuff. I'm hoping most of it's still good. Well, you know what, Tom? You have to come over here. We'll have to do some live streams, man. We'll have to do it some weekend. We'll have to do a session. That'd be a lot of fun. And yeah, Frank, you should totally get back on YouTube. It's a lot of fun, man. At least I've been having fun with it lately. I'm hoping to get some jalapenos started, man. Who knows? Maybe there's some that are still going. We'll have to see. Yeah, I know. I promise I won't make you sick, Tom. I mean, I go to work. I'm still going to work every day because my company is essential business. But literally, I mean, I basically go in. I'm in like a 10 by 10 brick cell, man. It's kind of, very little interaction. I mean, we're running on a skeleton crew, so I don't know. I mean, though you hear about people carrying that stuff asymptomatic or whatever like that. Um, I don't know, but yeah, we can wait if you want to wait. I'm gonna get rid of these ants tomorrow. I still got. There's a whole bunch of them still there. Yeah. Yeah. What are you growing, Frank? By the time my friends they left, man, they fly by night. They stayed one night and left, and they've been kind of in quarantine the whole time too, like not going anywhere because she's like 8 months pregnant. They're getting ready to have a baby and all that, so they've been on lockdown. Other than last night, they only came over because they don't have a basement and all that stuff. But hey, we're gonna make some cloth masks this weekend. We found all this fabric and stuff, and there's a pattern online, so my kids are all into it. And gonna make some homemade masks for. Oh, that's awesome, man! That Art Combs Ancient, you'll like that. You should check out. I got at least one video. I got a couple videos on it. Um, we got some really nice ones last year, and I got all kinds of seeds I saved. Yeah, and I did the scarlet. I had to look through here, man. Yeah, I might. I'll talk to my daughter see if they want to, because they're gonna be the ones making them. We got my daughter a sewing machine. couple years ago, and she hadn't really been using it until here lately. Now all of a sudden she's into it. She made some like overalls look pretty cool. She's kind of artsy, like crafty, like has a mechanical mind, like likes to understand how things work, and is like real good at does weird stuff like makes her own Barbie doll hair. She did that like last year. It was, I don't know. She's got some interesting um, hobbies and stuff. I think it's really cool. Anything we can do to encourage it, cultivate it, and stuff. I want to try to do that. But yeah, so down here tonight, I got this potting mix. I mixed up. It's got all kinds of good stuff in it. It's got the worm castings in it. It's got azomite dust in it. Pro Mix, Phlegm Moss, all kinds of good stuff. But I'm going to start the 4 rows that aren't really coming up is going in. I'm going to start them in these pots and see if we can get some because it's not too late. And try to get some stuff sprouted. But overall, it's looking pretty good. Oh, and then I go out and show you guys my other plants that I watered last night. Still got potatoes for you, Tom. Look at that. No, I'm gonna do the supersonics probably tomorrow. I may do some tonight. We'll see how long this goes. If not, it'll be tomorrow. We'll go over here. We got a bunch of stuff to take to Goodwill, but they're not taking collections right now. Yeah, I got my peppers on a heat mat right now, trying to get them to sprout. It looks like they're doing pretty good. Here, there's a couple rows not, but let's see here. There's not a lot of light here, but they're doing good. We didn't put them out today because the wind was so bad. I'm gonna try to get them out to my dad's house, out to the greenhouse. I think tomorrow. Yeah, well, I got way too much. The problem is, I don't know if you guys got this problem, but you know, when you got a little bit of space, all of a sudden you got family members that either want to give you stuff you don't need, or they want you to store stuff that they don't have room for that they're not ready to get rid of yet. And we kind of experienced both where we've, you know, we'll get stuff cleaned out and whatnot, and lo and behold, my dad will do some cleaning out of stuff, and he'll find some things that are kind of sentimental to him, thinking, well, I'll just take them over there and they'll, you know, I'll gift them, and so he'll bring stuff over and whatnot. And sometimes we'll hold on to it, but other times we just kind of pass it along. And then my in-laws, kind of the same deal, like that chair there. My wife's grandfather, he passed away in November, and it's a pretty nice chair. It's heavy. It's got a motor in it because it's one of the things that, you know, will help you get up, and it's got a lift in it. And anyway, they wanted to hold on to it rather than donate it to the Masonic home or whatever, or, you know, try to sell it. They ended up wanting us to store it for them, and we really couldn't say no because we're renting their house, right? Their old house that they're not ready to sell yet, or they're getting closer to selling. They'd really like to sell it to us. We're not ready to buy yet. So anyway, it's kind of one of those things you couldn't really say no. But then, 6 months later, we follow up with them like, hey, so you don't want to do anything with that chair? And then they're like, oh yeah, it turns out we don't want it. So whatever you want to do with it. So, okay. So now, we got to figure out what to do with it. We don't want it. We don't need it. I could put it on Craigslist or whatever. Part of me is kind of inclined to just get rid of it, and just be done with it. That way I don't have to worry about it. That's one thing about having stuff, and I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but well, actually, I think he peed on it. So, I don't know. We haven't taken a real close look to it, but anyway, it's out in the garage. It's taking up space. And I don't know if you guys are like this, but it's like you got all this stuff and it just becomes a burden after a while. It's like something you got to worry about or something you got to move. It's something you got to you're responsible for. And then we got, my brother-in-law, actually, he's going through a hard time. He's actually going through a divorce as well, or it's upcoming anyway. I don't think it's been finalized yet, but anyway, he's got stuff. Apparently they sold their house, and he's got a lot of stuff he just hasn't dealt with yet. And he's got a house he's renting currently, and he's got a garage, but he wants to park his Suburban in the garage. And I don't know, we don't quite understand all of that. But anyway, make a long story short, my wife's mom, my mother-in-law, basically said, oh, well, no worries, you can just take all that stuff over to Charlie and Jen's house. It's like, really? Okay. And once again, we're kind of in this awkward situation because we're renting the house. We don't own it. We can really say sorry, no. And also he's in kind of a tough spot, so totally understand that. That I don't know. That's a good question, but he told us originally it was a Suburban's load of boxes, and I think it's probably more than that from what I gather. Which, again, hey, I can understand. But hopefully it's not one of those things. And you know what? My timer's about to pop, and this time I caught it before the lights go out on me, like they've done the last 2 times. There. Caught it right as it was going. Anyway, I hope it's not one of those things. Yeah, I don't know what all it is, but I hope it's not one of those things where like we end up having all that stuff and then like he either forgets about it or doesn't ever do anything with it and is content to just leave it here. Because we also have, I'll show you this because this is kind of comical. And it doesn't really bother me a whole bunch. It's kind of funny. So you see that thing? This kayak that's like partially finished. So that's been here for probably, I would say 15 years. and that's my brother-in-law's kayak. And they had a big old house and all that, and we'd asked him my wife had asked him a couple times to come and get it. Like, we need that. We'd like to hang bikes from there. I mean, we got things that we'd like to do with that space overhead. You know, mostly hang stuff up, whatever. And it's kind of blew us off and whatever. So now, yeah. So now we're kind of stuck with it for the interim, and again with the kind of situation he's going through, you know. So anyway, all I have to say is that there's stuff. We're always dealing with stuff. I guess it could be worse. I mean, we could be in a situation where, like, you know, we don't have a place to live, or you know, we're not in a position where we can give, where we're having to, you know, rely on like the good graces of other people or whatever, you know, and all of that. So I don't begrudge. I just try, when I get frustrated with it, try to keep perspective that, you know what, you know, the shoe could be on the other foot, so to speak, right? And so it's all kind of perspective. But anyway, this weekend I want to try to get rid of some of that stuff. Maybe some of those clothes or whatever. I know there's a couple of donation stations around town where you can throw stuff in a bin or whatever. The ones I've seen here lately, like, there's just a pile of just junk piled up in front of them, and I think part of it's because, like, you know, the Goodwill and the Salvation Army, those places are kind of shut down right now. Like, they're not taking donations, and I don't think those sites are being collected. At least, you know, looking at them, I don't know if anybody's coming out to get that stuff because of the coronavirus and all the stuff that's going on, and all of that. But we're gonna try to deal with it and see what we can do this weekend. I had another buddy. He's been on the channel before, Stone. He's got my small trailer right now, or he's cleaning up his yard. Helped him with a load of brush. Was that last Sunday? Yeah, it was last Sunday. We got one load, took it out to Dad's because their county's coming around to pick up sticks and all that. And as of the other night when I went out to mow grass, none of that had been picked up yet. So I felt bad. I didn't want to take any more loads out there. And I don't think Stone wanted to do that either. So I actually left the trailer over there last Sunday for him to do whatever this week. And I think he's about done with it. So I'm going to see if it's available this weekend potentially to take care of some things and all of that good stuff. So we got this lettuce. I did water it in, and I flipped this box around because I noticed that this side of it was growing a little bit faster than this side, and a lot of it's because it's in under the lights further, and probably just it's getting more light, I think, overall, whereas this was kind of on the end where, you know, lights kind of cut off the last 6 inches, so part of the box was out here like that. And it's maybe a little more insulated than the other side here. So kind of see how that goes. So we got our peppers. That was what? Row number 2 that didn't sprout, as far as I can tell. 3, 4, 5, 6. We got rows 7 and 8. That's my red Marconi and the red Thai chilies. So I've got some seeds I was going to try. This is from 2017, so it's a little ways back. But I was going to go ahead and try to get some red Thais. And they may be coming up. You see that? There's little sprouts here where they might be. There's another little sprout. So I've got at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are coming up. The red Marconi, there's a few more that are starting to show maybe. I mean, maybe I just need to wait. But these here in the orange, none of them came up. I don't see any kind of activity. Which is kind of a bummer because that was a local seed company. Yeah, it seems like the peppers, Frank, man, it seems like they take, even though I put them in the bags and all that, it took like a week and a half. At least a week to start sprouting. But I mean, golly, we're going on close to 2 weeks now, and they're finally popping up. But I still got, again, kind of at least 4 of the rows that aren't doing anything. Yeah. Especially jalapenos. I do like those. I use them in the salsa and all that stuff. Yeah, maybe that's what I need to do is crank them up. I got the mats at, I mean, it's measuring 83 right now. Oh, that's another thing I should have brought down here. So at work, so I work for manufacturing and all that, and everything that's going on. We got these digital thermometers, though we're not required to take temperatures of employees yet. We got them there just so we can do it if we suspect there's an issue or whatever. And it was funny because the first one that came in, it was on Chinese or whatever, like the manual and everything. And then the second one we got, same model and all that, but it came with the English manual. So we were able to kind of figure it out, how to program it and calibrate it and all that. So my boss wanted me to take it home with me and, have us take our temperatures with like regular thermometer and then use the gun to calibrate, and adjust it because it's got a setting where you can do an offset on the temperature so you get it where it's pretty accurate. So we were messing around with the gun, like taking the temperature of the dog and stuff like that. But I should bring that down sometime. It's pretty neat that you can literally hold it about 5-6 inches away from your forehead and zap it, and it gives a pretty accurate reading. Do they have the digital thermometers, or is it the real ones they're trying to stick in your mouth? Like, oh, shoot. It's too funny, man. Too funny. We get these, throw some red Thai chilies in here. Just in case none of those others come up. Digital non-contact. Well, we got it to where if they do have a temperature or whatever, we definitely make them go home. Oh, shoot. Yeah, there was some jokes about that too. Yeah, whatever you can do. I know my credit manager, AR specialist who works for me, she's loving the work from home option right now. And I mean, I mean, some people enjoy going to work and all that, but I think most people probably would enjoy working from home. I think I would, as long as I had kind of a space or whatever. It would save, at least for me about an hour, 15 minutes in drive time each day. For some of the employers are getting to do that right now. It's like they're saving them 2 hours a day, that they can sleep in, or once they're done with work, they're done, they're right there, can go on with their activities. That, and then the other thing too is that we don't have like software that's tracking every single minute, what they're doing. I mean, basically they've got the freedom to kind of work their life into their work. So like if they want to go to Walmart, as long as they got their phone on them, they can field calls and stuff like that. Yeah, no, and I didn't say that to say you're not working. I know you're working. Yeah. uh, and there are people, I mean, it is, in some ways, a lot of ways more efficient because you do get more, there's less distraction. And like I said, you can kind of incorporate your life in with it. So, and they're actually getting a lot more discretionary effort from you too, I think, because everything's there at home. If they need anything, basically you're available. And I guess that's kind of the downside too, is that you can't get away from it per se, because you're right there, But you're getting a heck of a lot more discretionary effort from your employees because if they've got the right mindset, that's the thing. I know most of ours do, and I think you do too, Tom. I mean, you're pretty easy going about stuff. At least I think, to a point. So I got these. I thought this would be kind of a neat one to grow. It's basically an orange version of the Corno di Toro, the red ones I normally grow. Looked like a cool scene. There was a bunch of them in here, but like I said, I didn't get none of them sprouted. So, which is kind of odd. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll see if we can get them going in the regular pot. Hopefully we do get some to sprout. I know sometimes I find like when you start, you get a new variety from like a seed company or whatever. Sometimes your very first year of trialing it in your garden, it doesn't do well. Because maybe the seeds aren't, maybe it's just not acclimated for your climate yet. Well, as you saw, man, I think your banana peppers are dead because I got a bunch I'm going to be giving you. They're doing better than anything else right now. My banana peppers and King and North, I'm almost 100% germination on those. They're doing real good. This one's doing it. These are eggplants. And then this is that kind of new pepper. It's a weird hot pepper variety. But anyway, it seems like when you're starting to... Yeah, there's some really neat ones. I'll show. I got some neat ones. I'm not going to grow them this year because I know we're not going to eat them. And they're kind of dangerous too. I think the seeds are still going. Yeah, the banana peppers have always done well in the garden. They are. This is it. I had a friend at work. he's got a buddy that works at Wright Pat Air Force Base who is genetic engineer or something. I forget what his title is, but supposedly these seeds have the genes, genetics of the ghost chili, the Boot Jalokia, Carolina Reaper, and the Trinidad Scorpion. It's got genes from all three of those peppers are in this pepper here. And they grew. I got them to grow last year. Yeah, but we didn't eat any of them. I just grew them just to see if I could grow them. And then he also gave me just a separate Carolina Reaper one. So I've got some really hot ones. I don't think I'm going to do any of those this year. But I've got the seeds saved, and I'm going to plan on keeping them for maybe a future deal potentially. That, or for the fun of it, if you want any of these, Frank, you just have to message me your address and I'll mail some to you. How about that? Yeah. We did a Tabasco pepper 2 years ago and we had intentions of making sauce out of that, and then ended up, I don't know what happened. We just didn't get around to it. It's kind of one of those things, you got a lot of plans and intentions, and then you get sidetracked about life and just other priorities and stuff that kind of creep in. Yeah. But it seems like when I get a new variety, sometimes they'll do really well, but there's times when they don't. I almost expect them not to do like really well the first year, because typically the seeds maybe aren't acclimated to the climate, like wherever their trial fields were, like whoever, because a lot of these seed companies, they're not growing all these varieties at their farm. They've kind of subcontracted or found growers all over the country that, meet their criteria, as far as not using, if it's going to be organic or whatever. Like they have a way of certifying those growers, and then those growers grow plants for seeds, but it could be in a different climate or region or whatever. And so consequently, when you get them, maybe like the variety is not acclimated to your microclimate yet. I found out with a couple of the tomato varieties we've done over the years is, maybe the first year they didn't do so well, but maybe they did well enough that I got like, they produced maybe one or two, maybe three like really good, true to type tomatoes, and then from that saved seed from them, and then the next year they did a lot better. And some of that could be just differences in the season and all that. I mean, there's so many factors, but my gut tells me that's part of it, is that they're getting acclimated to your climate, and so once they've grown in your garden the one year, produce seed from that, there's little adaptations that happen, and then next thing you know, if you save seed year over year, you can get a variety that's pretty well adjusted to kind of your microclimate, and so they're going to just do better than stuff maybe you would buy at the store that was grown in a different climate that's not acclimated. I saw that with the tomato varieties. I saw that with the Art Combs watermelon that we did. The first year didn't do so well. I got maybe one or two watermelons. Last year I got 11, and they were really good. Same with the terracotta tomato variety. First year, not real good at all. This last year did awesome. Did Was one of my favorites that we got. And we saved seed from it, so I'm going to be starting that again this year. So excited about that. It's kind of neat how that all kind of how it works out. It's funny you reading the news and stuff like that. Or actually, I got an email today from a territorial seed company, like basically saying that they aren't shipping or taking any new orders at this time because they've got such a backlog of orders where all these people are starting, these coronavirus victory gardens, right? Which is cool. A lot of people are interested in it and getting, wanting to start a garden and all of that because of everything that's going on. And one, maybe they got more time on their hands, but two, like just like out of fear, food security and stuff like that, like wanting to try to do something. That's crazy. Yeah, that Charles Downing, he's pretty cool. He's been doing it forever. He's like that Elliot Coleman. They're over in I think he's in the UK or something. That Charles Downing, and it's just cool what he's been able to do. Like, doing the no dig beds, and he's got like this big stall of like this compost operation where he's manufacturing that stuff on like a really big scale to amend his beds year after year. He's got a pretty sweet setup, honestly. That's crazy, Tom. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy, but I think a lot of these seed companies are slammed right now. Um, I haven't been to Baker Creek since I ordered, before all this stuff started. I should just to see what comes up, but again, like I said, I got an email today where there's one that's totally not um, selling anymore, at least at this point, until they get caught up with the orders that they've got. Um, Trying to think what's our other variety. I got three varieties planted. What was my other one that wasn't doing so well? I took my little crib notes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was red tie. I've already done that. The orange corno. Huh. Well, that stinks, man. Well, if there's anything you want, you saw my bucket of seeds. I probably got something in there. Um, I could send you stuff if you didn't get anything that you were wanting as far as like vegetable varieties. I don't know. Again, I've not tested these seeds. I think they're still viable. I tried to be careful on how I stored them, but I don't know. I haven't. Other than the peppers here, which again, a third of them haven't really sprouted real well yet. But if there's anything you do want, I'd be wanting to send you some stuff. I got a ton of tomato seed. So 1, 2. Maybe it was the cornos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it's the red Marconis. That's awesome, man. I'm pretty sure I got some more of them. I have to look through. Now, one reason why the red Marconis may not have come up is because these seeds were from 2017. So maybe pushing the limit a little bit with them. Wow. Now that's something I have not gotten yet. And that is onion sets. I've still got a bunch of baggies and food saver baggies filled with them, and they're pretty pungent too. My wife, she's got seasonal asthma, so she can't. If we cook with them, like she can't open the bags, and she can't really be around it until after they start cooking down a little bit because there's such a kind of a pungent odor that comes out of those bags because I, basically sealed them in fresh, like right when all that happened. Like right after I sliced them, I had the food saver right there, and I was dumping stuff in the bags and sealing them right up, and it kept them fresh. I mean, they're pungent, but something about it will get her worked up, where she'll go into a asthma attack. I basically have to take the inhaler to recover. Yeah, that'd be cool. Like, I've heard about those, and I think that'd be kind of neat having that. I got a couple of. This one's going to be an interesting variety. I don't know though. They got a little warning label that they overpacked it because when they tested it, it didn't do well as far as sprouting. So we'll see. And then this other one, supposed to be a monster. It's like a German variety, again from that Ohio heirloom company. I was trying them out this year. We'll see if that's any good. I'm thinking tomorrow I'm going to start the tomatoes. We'll get them going. Try to get some stuff out to the greenhouse. My dad's ready to go. I think he's looking forward to the garden. My sister's got a ton of stuff going. That's amazing, man. Some of that stuff's pretty hardy. It just will grow and that's some of the best stuff you can plant. Stuff you can just kind of leave alone and let it do its thing. We got a Ukrainian rhubarb. We planted the first year. We moved over to Ohio, and it's come back every year so far. But what's funny is I haven't harvested really any of it yet for like eating, we had, I guess they said, the first year you kind of want to leave it, let it get established, and then start harvesting it on that. And I forget, I think I actually let it sit for 2 years just to get really good established. And in the third year, I wanted my son to trim the seed stalks out. And he ended up ripping, he butchered the plants basically, and I didn't know if they were going to make it. So we let it sit another year. And then last year, I don't know what happened, but we didn't get around to it or whatever. But this year, I'm gonna try to harvest it. I've still got a ton of seeds in the freezer, which again, I don't know if they're good. I may try to test sprout some of them. I've had some people request them over the years, and so we'll see if they're still good. But if they are, I've got a ton of that. We'll see here. I may not have any more of the red Marconi seeds other than the 2017. So we'll go ahead and try that. Again, I'll just go ahead and put a little bit more of the packet on there because I've still got a ton. Yeah, I think I got maybe 2 videos on it. I think one actually where we had harvested the seed stalks. I need to organize my playlist. I got a bunch of just kind of quite a few videos on there. So we're going to sprinkle these in. See if any of those come up. Yeah, I need to find a way of labeling these because I don't have. Guess I can use sticky notes for now. Need to get some of those tongue depressors or popsicle sticks like you got, Tom. Maybe I can just write on the side like 1. That's how I'll do it. 2. 3. 4. And let's label my seed packets accordingly. Yeah. So the next step, oh, that's cool, man. We got a Rural King around here and a Tractor Supply. They sell some pretty decent stuff. And then oh, there's a store in Dayton, Ohio that sells all kinds of Pro Mix. I got my brick there. I got probably about a third of a brick there. I got some phloem moss. I got some earthworm castings there. That's a 40-pound bag. I've used probably about 3 pounds of that. And then I still got my azomite. Probably about 20 pounds there. And then somewhere around here, I may have gotten rid of it. I had a bag of this stuff. It was called C90. And I guess it's basically minerals they harvest from some beach that, you know, when the tide comes in or whatever, and then as it goes back out, and stuff dries out, it leaves these minerals, and they harvest like basically the salts off the beach, and it's supposed to have like every mineral known to man in it or something like that, like 90 minerals, whatever. I think the azomite has like 70 or 76, like most of them, including some of the bad ones like arsenic, like in trace amounts. So it's not gonna like kill you or whatever, but it's there. Yeah, because they don't know. I mean, they know that. What is it? Yeah, 13. Well, 16 technically, right? Three derived from the air, and then the other 13 are in salt form or mineral form. Um, and then they think, I guess I read something like nickel. There might be like a trace amount of nickel that's not in the Mittleider mineral thing, but it's not really been scientifically shown to make difference. But it could be one of those things where like they really don't know like all of them, you know. They get a pretty good idea by analyzing like plant tissue and stuff like that, but there could be other purposes for the other minerals that maybe we don't know yet that has some relationship to the plants or whatever. Who knows? But 13 is a good start, or 16 rather, and that, you know, looking at the Mittleider method, it seems like it gets results, you know, as far as if you want life sustaining food, things like that. So we got our peppers. Bunch of seeds there. Now what I'll probably do is water these in a little bit. Probably with the smaller cup. This is just the initial wet down. I really don't care if I turn the seeds at this point because nothing's sprouted yet. But definitely afterwards, I want to be careful what I do because I don't want them to turn them and then they end up dying because of that. So I'll probably put like a napkin or a cloth or something to water. If I'm going to top water, I'm actually going to probably rig it up to bottom water since I've got them in here, you know. Just put about a ½ inch of water in here and that'd be good enough. I need to put some of that seed mix on there now. Not too much. Some people use sand. I've seen that with the Mittleider. They'll just put a little bit of sand over top the seeds. So maybe I need to get me some play sand or whatever. But this seems to work okay as long as there's not like big twigs. Let's kind of pat that down. So then I'll fill this tray with about a ½ inch of water. And then put the cover on it. And then we'll just see what happens. And it'll probably take a week. Yeah, I think that's the key, just keeping them covered and keeping them moist. Some will sprout even if it's not dark, and then some seeds it has to be dark. And then you have seeds that they won't sprout unless they've been through a winter, like a certain temperature. It's kind of interesting how that all works out, how different seeds have different requirements. Yeah, for Christmas we got my daughter a bonsai tree growing kit, and that was kind of interesting. They sent her a packet of seeds and said it could take like, I want to say it was like a year, 6-8 months or something to get those seeds sprouted. And like we got them in the refrigerator, and then there was all, I don't know. I didn't read. She read the booklet. We gave her the little growing guide and all that stuff. But that stuff can take, yeah, freeze thaw cycle. That's what. Yeah. So anyway, she's trying to grow a little bonsai tree, and I guess that can be like a lifetime pursuit there. Okay, so I got about a 1/2 inch of water. We've already moistened this pretty good. So now I just need to find a lid. And we got it on our heat mat already. So we should be pretty good on that. What I'm probably going to do tomorrow is move this box out of here and put it in the garage. We're going to keep this at the house, so we've got some lettuce to pick from once it gets going. And then I've got another box I'm going to start, in a couple weeks once this gets going. Yeah, that's cool. Little boxwood bush. Those things grow thick. We've got a couple at the house in the front yard. Well, I set up a little box like this with the little flange pipe that I got from Home Depot. It works out real good. And we'll get that going. And then try to get some fertilizer so I can do that weekly feed on the other box as a comparison, and we'll see if we can catch the other box up to this growth. This growth, I've used the organics, the BioThrive. That's got a lot of good stuff in it, plus my little soil mix that this is planted in. So all the conditions will be the same in the other box when I get the lettuce started for the most part, but we'll do the pre-plant treatment for the garden mix, and then I'll do the weekly feed as a comparison. And it'll be interesting to see if the Mittleider box catches up to this box that I'm not, and just see what the health of the plants are and all of that. And in the taste test, which ones taste better, Typically minerals are what give produce, vegetables, and stuff their flavor. So it would stand to reason that the sweeter, the more flavorful the lettuce is, the better tasting the lettuce probably the more minerals are in it. I would think, if that stands to reason, which it seems to stand to reason. You know, if minerals are what give produce flavor, the more flavorful produce is, the more minerals are in it. Kind of like that whole Brix testing where you can like analyze plant tissue and see what it comes back on a Brix scale as far as sugars and stuff in it. So anyway, it'd be an interesting little comparison to kind of see how that turns out and what the difference is. So anyway, that's what we got going on tonight. Kind of cool. I mean, I enjoy it. I have fun. I love gardening, just being down here and hanging out and stuff like that. Spending time with the kids, my family and all that. Oh, interesting. That's the one thing I don't have is a little pH reader, right? You know, that you can insert in the soil and it'll tell you what the pH is. I don't know how accurate those readers are, but I think it'd be kind of cool to have that. I think it'd be cool to have like a little Brix tester too, just to see, you know, and kind of get an idea of what's in the plants and stuff like that. There's a guy on New Jersey. I Am Organic Gardening, I think is his channel, but he had a neat little handheld tester that was like a prototype he got his hands on. So yeah, that's what we got going on. But probably be down here again tomorrow again. Yeah, it'd be kind of neat to track that. The other thing I've been talking with Tom about with the Mittleider method. I mean, I'm more biased to like organic, like, you know, philosophically, right? And all of that. Like, that seems to be the ideal, like, head in the direction like permaculture and like, you know, self-sustaining systems where you're taking advantage of like natural cycles and like the soil food web and all that and building fertility without having to do a ton of inputs, you know. But one thing that's kind of neat about the Mittleider is that you don't have to, I mean, you can take any soil, any condition for the most part. I mean, I think actually the Jacob Mittleider did some kind of experiment in Japan where they were kind of skeptical of his methods, and so they gave him like a parking lot. And we're willing to help him as far as like materials for grow boxes and all of that, but just to see what would happen. And he made it successful. Like, they were blown away by what he could produce on a parking lot. And so, because he was giving the plants everything they needed, you know, as opposed to, you know, organic method or other methods where you're trying to build the soil to feed the plants. He was feeding the plants directly through carefully measured, you know, regimen of minerals and making sure they have water and stuff like that. Basically above ground or in ground or soil-based hydroponics is basically what he's doing. And so anyway, talking with Tom, maybe I'll do a couple boxes in the backyard. I've been talking to my wife about it, and she's warmed up to the idea of having maybe a grow box or two in the backyard that we could actually do the method as it's prescribed, whereas out at Dad's house. Yeah. I know you do because I've been out there. I've seen it. um, anyway, whereas at the big garden out at Dad's house, we're doing more soil based, um, and kind of playing around with the mitt lighter just as a supplement, but um, still doing cover mulches and things like that to try to build the soil. So, but it'd be kind of neat, and we perhaps there's an opportunity for us to do that here this year. Try the grow boxes, if anything, for lettuce, just lettuce and maybe cherry tomatoes. Yeah, feed the soil, you know, feed them the soil food web. It feeds the plants. Plants feed you. You know, it totally is a route I'd like to go, but it takes a couple years of like no till and cover mulches and inputs and getting it takes a couple years to get the soil biology right, and you need living roots for that to happen because it's the plants that control that whole relationship and attract the microorganisms that then able to break down the minerals and stuff in the soil and convert them into a form that the plants can take up, and in exchange the plants give the little macroorganisms, the exudates, the simple sugars that they need to live, and so it all kind of works out, but it takes a while to get that all right. Whereas mitt lighter, you just make sure you're putting your stuff down in the precise measurements, which really isn't that complex. It's just making sure you do your pre-plant mix, which is basically garden lime, borax, and I think Epsom salt, and there's calculations for it, but every square foot you're putting so much of that or working so much of that in the ground, and then after that it's your weekly feed, which is basically a 25-pound bag of triple 15, a 10-ounce nutrient packet that has all the minor minerals, basically the 13, or actually it's the 10 because the triple 15 has the NPK, so it's the other 10 trace minerals you mix with the triple 15, and then and like 4 pounds of Epsom salt. I usually keep the Epsom salt separate, or if I put it in there for my whole big batch, I'll mix it with lime to coat it so that it doesn't get soupy, because the salt will moisture, will draw moisture into the mix and it becomes soupy. So I keep the salt, typically I have to keep the salt separate and just mix it on the fly, and like a 1.5 gallon bucket is enough for the whole big garden. And sometimes that'll last like 2 weeks, and it's just I think 1 ounce of that per linear foot, or square foot or whatever. I think it's linear foot as you're going down the row. An ounce of that, and once a week, and then you just water it in, and then yeah, and it does great. It gets results. The only thing though is, and I guess you kind of get in the best of both worlds, because if you're doing the soil base where you're not using a sterile mix like the sand sawdust mix like the LDS prepper does, but you actually have the plants in the soil, they still have access to the stuff that's in the soil. And the other thing too is you're still getting all the microorganisms and stuff on the plant tissue and all of that, so that as you're eating that stuff, like you're strengthening your like microbiome, like all the bacteria and all that stuff in your gut, like you're teaching your immune system how to fight things and strengthening it, at least that all kind of makes sense, because that there isn't just microorganisms in the soil, but they actually cover the plant, and so that's the one big thing again against like these vertical farms that are going up, that everything's in this sterile environment. You get food and all this production, but it's sterile food. It's like dead food. It doesn't have. It's got the maybe the minerals because they've been feeding it like a hydroponic mineral mix, but it doesn't have the microorganisms. You're not ingesting those. The food's pretty sterile, and so you're not getting that benefit that you would normally get if you're eating it from the field, and exposed to that. I mean, you still want to wash your stuff. I don't want to eat bird poop, or like deer pee or whatever. Yeah, I'd still wash stuff, make sure there wasn't anything like that. But I don't know. It's all just very interesting to me. Which is why I make videos, partially, and down here having a good time with it all and all that good stuff. So, anywho, I should probably get going because we got a lot going on tomorrow. But I'm typically on here, at least here it's been every night. I was going to try to do 30 straight days as these seedlings are sprouting, just to document it and kind of spend time on here. But I'm on here usually in the evenings, hanging out with Tom. Tom's usually jumping on, and we're chatting about stuff. And occasionally we have other people jump on and whatnot. It was really cool you jumped on tonight, Frank. Like I said, it's been years since we chatted and whatnot, and so hopefully we'll see you again, and again, as far as seeds, if there's anything you want, just let me know where to mail it to, and I can do that. Yeah, so, and then Tom, I know you're wanting to get your seed potatoes and exchange the fertilizer and stuff like that. I know the weather's going to be just not real optimal for planting. I think we were supposed to get like frost potentially tonight. It's going to get maybe down in the 30s and all that. Maybe only be in the lower 40s the next 2 days. So if you're wanting to hold off, that's fine. If you're still wanting to meet up, yeah, if you want to meet up, we could still do that. I mean, if you're worried about contamination and stuff like that, what I could do is set the stuff out, on the curb, like put it in a box for you or something like that, and we can swap that way where you can kind of drop and run. You just let me know what you want to do, and I'll adjust, or if you want me to just swing by, I can drop stuff off at your house and pick up, in that way too. So we'll work something out. Yeah, you can text me. So, all right. Well, hey, it's been fun, and hopefully we see some more peppers come up. Yeah, you need to pop in some more. You shoot an email with your address and stuff, and let me know what you want. And I'll try to get some. I'll get the GMO pepper seeds for sure. Hopefully they're still viable. And if there's anything else you're looking for, maybe I've got it. I can send you something. So, all right. Well, until next time, happy gardening. Bye.